The silence didn't whisper this time, it screamed. Because when Tom Bower opened his mouth, the walls of Montecito didn't just shake, they cracked. This isn't celebrity gossip. This is a countdown, a reckoning, and Meghan knows it. She knows that the man she could never sue, never silence, never spin is coming back, with everything he was once legally forced to leave out. Tom Bower just confirmed he was writing a second book about Meghan and Harry. This news didn't spread slowly, it hit like a cold wind.
Professionally, they've gone down dramatically, and I predicted it in the book, but even I would not have thought it'd be that accelerated. I think personally, they've separated their professional lives, but I think what's really a great problem for them now, as of in the last few weeks, is that Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Right.
The Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. And I don't see where she is going from.
Tom Bower is not a gossip columnist. He is not a commentator. He is the man Hollywood once nicknamed the Witchfinder General of biographers. A writer whose work was built on documents, interviews, and details so sharp they left marks. His first book, Revenge, had been a bestseller with 80 sources on record, each willing to speak despite the pressure surrounding them. And Meghan's team, known for pushing back, challenging narratives, and correcting stories, had been unable to stop him. They had never successfully sued him. They had never silenced him. Now, Bower announced that this new book, set for early 2026, carried material even Meghan could not spin away. Sources claimed he hinted at entire sections he had once removed for legal reasons. Removed, but not forgotten. This time, he said he would publish them. And it was not lost on anyone that Bower chose this moment. A moment when Meghan's projects were failing, her partnerships collapsing, and her public standing shrinking to release the most explosive work of his career. In Montecito, the panic had risen. The storm had begun. And that storm? Oh, it didn't roll in gently. It ripped through the illusion she spent years constructing. Because Tom Bower doesn't deal in vibes or viral clips. He deals in paper trails, sworn testimonies, and people who have finally stopped being afraid. Behind the gates of Montecito, this wasn't just bad news. This was DEFCON 1. Phones lighting up, advisors scrambling, old emails being reread with shaking hands. Because when Bower says removed but not forgotten, what he really means is, you got a temporary pass. And it just expired. Here's the part that's making Meghan lose sleep. When Revenge dropped, insiders whispered that Bower already had more.
That Meghan was warmly welcomed in Britain, that everyone in the royal family tried their very, very hardest to make her feel at home and accommodate her, but that unfortunately Meghan only wanted to be the star and made it impossible for her and the royal family to collaborate.
Way more. But back then, NDAs were ironclad. Fear was fresh. Careers were on the line. People stayed quiet. Barely. Now, time has passed. Loyalties have shifted. Contracts have expired. And resentment? That's fermented. Sources say what was once eagerness has turned into readiness. Not curiosity, readiness. Former staff, former partners, former allies who once defended her name in boardrooms and backstage corridors. Doors that were slammed shut are now being opened, slowly, deliberately, with receipts. And Bower? He's been waiting. While Meghan was pitching lifestyle fantasies and carefully filtered reinventions, Bower was doing what he always does, cross-checking timelines, stacking testimonies, matching stories that were never meant to touch. And the result, insiders claim, is heavier, darker, sharper. The kind of material that doesn't trend for a weekend, it sticks. And the timing? Brutal, surgical. Because this announcement didn't land during her rise, it landed during her unraveling. Let's talk about that comeback that was supposed to save everything. American Riviera Orchard. The name alone sounded like a soft-focused dream. Sunshine, simplicity, a woman reborn through jam jars and domestic bliss. But behind the aesthetic, a logistical nightmare dressed in linen and calligraphy. Sources familiar with the numbers say the brand produced a jaw-dropping $23 million worth of jam and fruit spreads. $23 million. Warehouses filled with 137,000 curated boxes, each one created on the belief that Meghan's name would move product faster than reality ever could. Launch day came, headlines screamed sold out, cameras flashed. The narrative worked, briefly. But here's the secret insiders say was never meant to leak, that Salo was a snapshot, a controlled understock, a manufactured moment. And once the headlines ran, Meghan's team allegedly used that hype to justify ordering over 150,000 more units. They didn't sell, they didn't move, they didn't leave the warehouse. Unopened, unsold, unwanted. This is the moment every carefully built illusion dreads, the point where branding collides with math, where belief crashes into inventory. And while jars gathered dust, something else was quietly collapsing: credibility. Then came February 2023. Not a lawsuit, not a royal decree, a card.
She was about to promote her Netflix series and didn't want to, firstly, be seen with Harry, and secondly, didn't want to go somewhere where she'd appear cheap and give it gratis. And this year, she is desperate to be seen.
South Park. One episode, one title. And suddenly, everything Meghan tried to control slipped out of her hands. The satire didn't create doubt, it crystallized it, demanding privacy while chasing attention, claiming victimhood while cashing checks. And then came the scene no one could unsee, the pregnancy gag. A moment so sharp it cut straight through the image she fought to protect. People didn't just laugh, they nodded. Because satire only works when it mirrors something real. And once South Park put those whispers on screen, they stopped being whispers. They became conversation. Relentless conversation. And while her team allegedly scrambled to soften the fallout, the damage was already done. The cultural shift had happened. The spell was broken. But if satire bruised her image, what Bauer uncovered next threatened something far more dangerous: legitimacy. Arkwell. The foundation that was meant to prove purpose. To show depth beyond titles and tell-alls. To anchor Meghan and Harry as serious, philanthropic figures. Instead, according to documents Bauer obtained, it became a maze of missing filings and uncomfortable numbers. Declared delinquent by the state of California. Not delayed, not late, delinquent, unable to raise funds, unable to distribute money, frozen. Expenses, $5.1 million. Donations, $2.1 million. Actual grants to causes, just $1.25 million. And tucked inside those expenses, two salaries totaling $913,000 for two people, nearly $500,000 each. While staff quietly disappeared, while filings didn't arrive, while scrutiny mounted. 3 consecutive years without proper tax documents. Then, just as questions sharpened, the organization shifted structures, moving under a fiscal sponsor that conveniently shielded financial transparency. To most people, that's paperwork. To Tom Bauer, it's a flair. Because charities don't go dark for no reason. And when they do, it's usually because the story behind the mission doesn't survive daylight. And this is only the first half. Before royalty, before rings and tiaras, before the carefully polished fairy tale, there was another world Meghan moved through with uncanny ease. A world without titles, but dripping in power. Dim lights, velvet ropes, private lounges where names mattered more than Ursum's. A world called Soho House. And this is where Tom Bauer's story sharpens into something deeply uncomfortable. Soho House isn't just exclusive. It's selective to the point of obsession. Membership isn't requested, it's curated. Access is currency. And somehow, long before Meghan ever became a duchess, she flowed through these spaces like she belonged there. City after city, Los Angeles, Toronto, London. Always welcomed, always placed perfectly, always surrounded by the right people. And one name keeps appearing in every chapter: Marcus Anderson, Global Membership Director, Gatekeeper, Connector. The man who didn't just open doors, he decided who deserved to walk through them. According to insiders, when Meghan moved cities, Anderson was there. When she needed introductions, Anderson handled it. When she needed accommodation, access, social positioning, somehow it all aligned. Harry himself admitted Soho House was her headquarters. That detail alone stopped Bauer cold. Because this isn't about glamour, it's about pattern, strategic proximity. Accelerated access that didn't quite match the trajectory of her acting career. The kind of elevation that raises quiet questions no one dared ask out loud. Until now. Who paid for those early trips? Who smoothed the transitions? Who vouched when her Rusum couldn't? These aren't salacious rumors, they're gaps. Gaps in a story Meghan has carefully narrated for years. And gaps are where investigative biographers live. What Bauer is uncovering isn't the glossy version placed on magazine covers. It's the scaffolding underneath, the alliances, the favors, the social architecture that lifted her into rooms most people never see. And once you see that pattern, it becomes impossible to unsee it. Because this wasn't luck, it was positioning. And that pattern didn't stop when she married into royalty. It followed her straight into the palace and straight back out again. Every institution has limits. Even one as patient, polished, and publicly restrained as the British monarchy. And according to sources familiar with royal dynamics, those limits weren't just tested, they were crossed. Tom Bower doesn't believe reconciliation is coming, he believes consequence is. Insiders say when William becomes king, he may take steps no modern monarch has dared to take. Not symbolic gestures, not quiet distancing, but decisive action. Removing remaining titles, severing privileges, possibly even stripping Harry of his prince status itself. Why? Because from the royal perspective, this was never just family drama. It was institutional betrayal. The monarchy doesn't do interviews, it doesn't monetize grievances, it doesn't correct every accusation because dignity has always been its armor. But silence is not forgiveness. And when Meghan and Harry went on global television, when they accused without evidence, when Spare spilled contradictions across hundreds of pages, the damage wasn't emotional, it was structural. Trust shattered. And while the palace stayed quiet, insiders say they watched, they documented, they waited. That's why Bower's new book isn't seen inside royal circles as gossip. It's seen as illumination, a proxy voice saying what the institution cannot, a record that may justify actions once thought unthinkable. And when this book lands in early 2026, it won't just influence public opinion, it may influence history. Because timing matters. And Meghan's timing couldn't be worse. Projects failing, partnerships evaporating, her lifestyle brand stalled, Hollywood no longer rushing to attach her name, the public no longer leaning in, but pulling back. And now, the one man she could never control is preparing to publish what he once had to bury. Inside Montecito, the pressure is no longer theoretical. Sources say advisors are tense, calls are being made that go unanswered. Old allies are suddenly distant. Because when a Bower book drops, everyone checks their own fingerprints first. He isn't writing a tabloid expose. He's assembling a case. Every claim cross-checked. Every timeline locked. Every voice corroborated. This is why she couldn't sue him last time. And this time, insiders whisper, the material is even harder to challenge. Because it's not about opinion, it's about record. This story began as a fairy tale. An outsider meets a prince. Love conquers tradition. A modern woman reshapes an ancient institution. But fairy tales don't usually end with frozen charities, unsold warehouses, fractured alliances, and doors quietly closing. What's coming isn't just about what Meghan did. It's about who she was before the crown, who she became after it, and what happens when image collapses faster than truth can be rewritten. Early 2026 is approaching. Tom Bower is finalizing chapters filled with testimonies once restrained by fear, now freed by time. Documents aligned, stories matched, secrets no longer protected by silence. Hollywood watches quietly, the palace waits patiently. And Meghan, surrounded by the luxury she once chased, faces the one thing she spent her life trying to outrun, a story she didn't write. Because when the book opens, it won't ask for sympathy. It won't seek approval. It will simply lay everything out. The rise through hidden networks, the fall through failed ventures, the unanswered charity questions, the unraveling reputation, the relentless hunger for attention while demanding privacy. This isn't redemption, this is reckoning. And when the pages turn, there will be no spin left. Only record, only consequence, only truth.